we did this. This was about a month ago.
About a while. Yeah, it was a while.
404 was the number, the mass count. So that's July.
Hmm.
It's August. It's about a month. Yeah, it's August,
Mhm.
and now we're at 474.
Yep.
We're at 474 actually, and that number ain't right. That number is not right.
It got to be larger than
Because
that.
no, I'm gonna tell you why. Because that was yesterday's number.
Okay.
Yesterday's mass shooting number is not
Yeah.
today's
Not to.
mass shooting number.
It is not. It is
This
not.
is fucking ridiculous.
But it's not.
We are a wild ass country. So,
Yep.
Jacksonville
Mm-hmm.
had a shooting this morning.
Is anybody surprised at this?
Florida,
so.
Florida. Son, this motherfucker was 21 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He shot up a is it a Dollar General?
It was a Dollar General. Yep.
A Dollar General, killed 3 people. The victims identified as Angela Carr. She was 52. Arnaud Leguer Jr. Sounds like a French last name, maybe Haitian. A lot of Haitians in Jacksonville. And Gerald Deshawn Gallon. That person was 20.
I sound like Haitian too, actually.
Gerald, right? Maybe.
Gerald? Yeah, Gerald.
Yeah.
Councilwoman. I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help
This fool left us some manifestos and suicide notes, whatever. I'm not sure. At his room, he called his dad in the middle of the shit and say, "Hey, break into my room with the screwdriver. I left y'all some notes." In the middle of him doing this freaking chaos, and his dad immediately calls the sheriff office and say, "Hey, my son says he's gonna do this thing. He's doing this thing," and he had an AR and a handgun. Which the AR had like swastikas and stuff on there, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna pause right there for a second and say, if you're 21 and all out and out racist, swastikas and all that kind of stuff, racist at 21,
At 21 is crazy.
I'm gonna venture to say your parents probably racist.
I would agree with that. Either that, or you are. I mean, it would have to be your immediate environment, or whoever your peer group is, are obviously also radicalized as well.
And immediate environment would include parents, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
motherfucker, you called the sheriff's office
or your peer group.
You called the sheriff's office to say, "Hey, my son is doing that." You fucking surprised? You can't be surprised.
One thing I want to mention, bro. He was actually. This is interesting. This kid had no arrest record before, right? Clean, everything. His criminal history is very clean prior to this, right? However, he was actually held under the Baker Act. What is the Baker Act? Let me explain. The Baker Act is has to do with mental fitness, mental illness,
mental fitness to be part of society. I'm sorry,
literally.
Somebody come get this dude. That's what it is. So that's what the Baker Act is.
And mind you, folks, this guy was able to get these firearms legally with no issue, right?
No problem.
The Baker Act specifically, the Florida Mental Health Act, commonly referred to as the Baker Act, focuses on crisis services for individuals with mental illness, much like an emergency department is for individuals experiencing a medical emergency. Just some context.
I had an experience where a friend of mine called me about like that, like they think they had to do it for a family member. Like there was like, I mean, I'm not an attorney or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But it's like, this person valued my opinion and it was like, this needs to happen. I don't know exactly what is going to happen if I do call. How is it going to result? Is this person actually going to go to jail? They're going to actually take them to a hospital type facility. You know what I mean? Is the chance of them getting shot? Or is the police going to come? Or is this going to be some people like in the movies where they have these white coats, whatever? You know what I mean? So it's like, we had to have that discussion. And this was in Florida. So, that shit's real. And if somebody goes through, because mind you, how this person was twisting and turning trying to before they even did it. So if somebody actually goes through and does it, they like really know, yo, this person is out of it. This person is out of it. Come get this dude. I'm gonna need y'all to come get this dude. This person is out of it. It ain't gonna end well either for this person or people around him who could potentially be his victims. Now, one thing that I hate, and I said this before, I hate when they bring up mental illness in these mass shootings. And granted, I get it. It wasn't nobody said that this particular shooting, but like just it's in the freaking articles that I'm reading, right? That they bring it up every time. And maybe it's relevant, but it always makes the way it makes it seem is like people with mental illness, because mind you, mental illness is a freaking spectrum of different stuff.
It is. But isn't this particular, because we did talk about this. Isn't this a little bit different though? Because he was actually under this Baker Act, what, 6 years ago? So there was some, so that's why I say, is it like, there's one thing to conveniently mention mental illness when it happens, but to actually have something like documented.
Yeah. So okay. So maybe this particular incident may not be the best example of what I'm talking about when they always try to lump together mental illness and mass shootings, because the thing that he was Baker acted for was a fight, violent, domestic violence kind of situation. So now the thing that he did mass shooting is of course a violent situation. So it's kind of 1 and 1. So you could kind of like boom, but it's not like people that have like depression, chronic depression, don't make them mass shooters. They're not, just somebody who has chronic depression. There's nothing that may necessarily ever end up making them be a mass shooter. So you can't just lump those type of people in there, or somebody who is
that's a good point,
who has who's bulimic. You know what I mean? Who's bulimic. You can't just because that's a mental health issue. But it's like that person doesn't necessarily be a mass shooter. Yeah. So people, like they lump up the whole mental health issues with that kind of stuff. So I hate that. And the other thing that it does is that it excuses bad guys. It excuses bad guys. And the part of this that I was reading where like there was no excuses being made for this was that I think this is the sheriff's department or somebody was saying that
portions of these manifestos detail the shooter's disgusting ideology of hate. Plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people. He wanted to kill niggers.
You be 21. You're in your parents' household. They got a room in your house and everything, right? They're probably watching Fox News all fucking day. They probably got a ton of fucking Confederate flags because our auntie lived in Jacksonville for a time, and when I go visit her, I saw Confederate flags lined up in Florida, in Jacksonville. There's a huge one when you go drive down I-95 down that area. Huge one off the side of the road.
Don't you dare go to Pensacola.
Fucking Clay County. Get the fuck out of here. Like, and so.
Sure.
What needs to be rooted out is this fucking white supremacy. I don't know how many times they have to fucking say it. The FBI has been saying it for over a decade. They're like, yo, the number one violent threat in America to Americans in America is white supremacy and all the fucking branches off of that. They keep saying it.
I would even go more macro.
I'm not making this up. They got statistics for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I would even go more macro than that. I would say the number one threat is ideology, because all these things, ideology and radicalism. Because all these things,
but you can't say that because that's actually macro. That's actually bigger.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say I'm gonna go more macro. I'm gonna go more macro and say ideology and radicalization. But the problem is there are varying different definitions of when does a person actually become radicalized, right? And how do we link this? I mean, there's evidence you can link a certain ideology.
Okay, so radicalization
itself has varying definitions. So I
can quibble with that. I can quibble with radicalization, that term there, but the thing that I would rather point out at is ideology, right? And ideology is so amorphous and it's so broad that Christianity is an ideology, the manosphere, that's an ideology, right? There's feminism is an ideology, so I wouldn't so quickly lump ideology with the radicalism for sure. Now there's even in radicalism there's a spectrum there, because you can be an environmental radicalist, a radical, and you're not hearing. I mean, they've done it. They've killed people too because of nature or whatever. But like they typically do things like throw paint at the museum art. You know what I mean? And like throw soup
Set
on like a
arson to
statue.
buildings or something like that.
Right, set arson to a building and maybe somebody
Yeah.
dies. That's unfortunate, but they're not mass shooting places.
They're not really,
They may
yeah.
chain themselves up to a freaking bulldozer or something
tree.
like that.
Yeah.
A tree or bulldozer or something like that. So, so we got to kind of be careful with the ideology part with it. But either way, I mean, I'm over this shit with this. Like, dog, the nigga's just racist. The nigga's just racist. We don't need to be freaking like adding all these other contextual things to say like these racist people and white supremacy is killing people. And so that's the thing that we really need to tackle. But you know, the FBI has been saying it louder than they have a bigger platform than I do, and ain't nobody paying attention to them when they say it. Hopefully they're doing all their investigation. You're like, wait, ain't nobody listening? Ain't nobody gonna give us more resources for this? Fine, we'll just investigate what we got.
The average, well, number one, the average persons are not even. This is why we keep going back to research. The average person, average citizen is not even looking into these type of things, right? They're not even. It's not something that's so obvious in their face, right? Like even identifying someone. The only way you can identify, well, one of the ways you can identify a person being radicalized is literally just by conversation, seeing how they behave, interacting with them, and looking at the paper trail. But like someone in the street, you identifying a person who's radicalized, you won't see that unless they make it somehow.
I don't know.
obvious,
that MAGA
right?
hat kind of like.
That no,
glares at me.
but that's why I said like unless they make it obvious, right? Like a MAGA hat or like if he's walking around with swastikas and you know what I'm saying, like it's kind of like okay, it's a good chance that guy might be, you know. So I mean, it's one of those things that I don't. It's just not at the forefront of people's mind. They don't understand because these things are so layered. You know what I'm saying? People don't really think about those things. So you know, but as far as the mass count, man, it's just this is something that we're not very encouraged about. That it'll slow down at any time. So,
Oh, you like that? You like that, didn't you? Well, for more clips, click here.
absolutely, and for the full show, click here.
I can't even see your hand.
Oh crap!
Fast time! Fast time!